I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feather, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's good, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joke, and I'm back at it again with a brand new video. And Marty Hurney is back at it again with some more off-season magic. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what strings he's pulling. I don't know what kind of back alley, back channel kind of moves he's making, bro. But he is making them, and they are actually very, very impressive. The news just came down that the Panthers have acquired free agent Chris Hogan for a 1-year deal. Now, I don't know how much he's making yet. The news hasn't come down on his contract details and that kind of stuff. Chris Hogan, if you don't know, is a 2-time Super Bowl winner. And this guy may not be, the most blockbuster big name ever as a wide receiver, but he will be a huge asset to this team. And I know there's some of you guys out there thinking to yourself, okay, yeah, Chris Hogan did look good with the Patriots for a while there. I'll give you that. But a lot of receivers do look pretty good in that Patriots system. I mean, it's built for success, some short yardage success, some guys working really well with Tom Brady in a pretty controlled sort of environment there. Not like just in the locker room, I'm talking about like on the field. The passing game there is a very controlled passing game. It's not all that crazy. It's not like a wild, wild west slinging it kind of offense. And Chris Hogan isn't really the kind of big hitter like Hollywood kind of receiver. But if you're watching how Tom Brady played last year, now he's been playing, increasingly so over the past couple years. The passing attack that he ran last year looked kind of similar to the way that we ran our offense, except for, maybe not with all the pre-snap motion, all the trick plays you ran at the top half of the season. I do want to see more of that going into 2019. But, those short control passes, those slants, those flats, those stop routes, and those posts are all things that work really well in our offense that Chris Hogan is great at doing. But my favorite route that Chris Hogan runs is also the route that exemplifies his biggest strength as a wide receiver. His smarts is the post-stop move. Now, I think we all know what a post is when you go upfield and then you make a cut that's diagonally to the inside of the field. But the post-stop route combines the two routes that are in its own name. Basically, it's a post route that goes over the middle, but then you stop right in the middle of the field and you square your body to the quarterback and you look for the pass. That kind of route is so perfect because 1, it gives the quarterback a clear, unmoving target in the middle of the field, and 2, it is a zone killer. You find the soft spot in the zone, maybe right in front of the linebacker playing deep or whatever, and it makes that linebacker think, do I come up 2 or 3, maybe 4 yards up the field and try to undercut this stop route? But if I do that, I may end up giving up a big play from a crossing route coming across the backside. And if I'm not there, then there's going to be no help for the trailing corner there, probably in the slot. Those kind of routes are usually called on third down for Chris Hogan. Keep it real, just about any route that Chris Hogan ran on third down was pretty successful if it went his way. He is really good at finding the space, but the point is it really makes the defense think, and if the route combinations are drawn out the right way, it should leave one of the two guys open. Like I mentioned before, Chris Hogan is so clutch on third down, third and short, third and medium. This guy will always find the soft spot in the zone. He's so talented at reading the defense and knowing where he needs to be and getting there and presenting a wide open square target for the quarterback. What you'll see a lot on his highlights is him squaring his body to the quarterback when he finishes his route and always presenting a clean target for the quarterback to hit. This guy is going to be really good for our offense. And pairing him up with Jarius Wright, another receiver with a very similar skill set, he may be a little bit faster, but it's going to cause a lot of trouble for defenses. They're both going to get one-on-ones on third down. Both of these guys are third down security blankets. They will always be open. More often than not, one of these two guys is going to be open, and it's going to be a great, great asset for our team. But all that's looking forward to the future. Let's peep his history real quick. This man was undrafted, got signed to the Dolphins. They had him on and off their practice squad. Then the Bills picked him up in his second year. He actually got into a game. He didn't really have all that much production. It was only 10 receptions, 83 yards, nothing too big. And he played in Buffalo for 4 years. His third and fourth year, they were a little bit better. He got about 400 yards both years, 4 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. Nothing too impressive, nothing all that big there. But over the last 3 years, between 2016 and just this past season, he played with the Patriots 2 out of 3 of those years, Super Bowl champion. And this guy has some pretty good numbers for, not being a premier part of that offense, not being the biggest receiver. I think at best, he was probably the 4th most targeted at most, maybe even 5th. But in 2016, he had 38 receptions, 680 yards, 4 touchdowns. But in the playoffs that year, only 3 games played, 17 receptions, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. He put up almost exactly half of his stats from the entire season in a 3-game span in the playoffs. And what that tells me is that not only is this guy, pretty reliable in the regular season, but he elevates his game in the playoffs. He does not shy away from the big stage. He is ready. He's reliable week 1. He's reliable in the conference championship. And he's going to be reliable in the Super Bowl. This guy elevates his game in the playoffs, and that's what you really want to see from a guy who isn't really a premier receiver, guys who aren't stars. In the playoffs, most defensive coordinators' plan of action is going to be to cut off the star players and say, look, we're going to stop these guys and make them beat us with their second and third options. Chris Hogan said, okay, you can stop them if you want to, but I'm still going to get mine. I like that a lot. 2017, 34 receptions, about 439 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then in 2018, 35 receptions, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. The guy is really good. Chris Hogan, if nothing else, is reliable. He's not going to put up, Pro Bowl numbers. He's not going to put up MVP numbers, but he knows his role. He does his job, and he is perfect for the job at hand. Now, how does he fit with our team? I think there's a couple things working out here. One, I see him as an insurance plan because, first of all, although Curtis Samuel did play out once he got in the game, once he got back into the season and back on the team, he did not get injured. But the team is painfully aware that injuries have played a big role in how our team's lack of success has been going on over the past few years. Last year it was the O-line, secondary, and then obviously Cam. But 2 years ago, Curtis Samuel missed the season, and we really missed him out there. He could have been a really big asset for the team, and we're not 100% sure just how healthy he's going to be. Will he hold up for a full 16? So even if he is going to be higher on the depth chart than Chris Hogan, we know that we have a guy who can be the 4th or maybe even 5th option in the receiving game who can step up, because a lot of times you can have a guy who can play as the 4th or 5th guy in the rotation receiving wise, but if guys go down or guys aren't producing, can they step up and be the 3rd or 4th, maybe even 2nd at some points target for the quarterback? It's a whole different game when your opposition is the 3rd or 4th best defensive back on the team, and then you go up and you're playing against the 2nd best guy. It's a whole different monster there, and Chris Hogan, I think, can step up and will step up if the worst should happen. I also see it as the team saying, look, we may or may not be keeping Torrey Smith. It is what it is. This move right here almost solidifies it for me that Torrey Smith is going to be a cap casualty. I don't know. I don't see it working out for us. If Torrey's on the team, then I don't think I see the team picking up a receiver in the draft. Although I'm more closer to lean to say that Torrey Smith's going to be gone, and we might be picking up a guy in the 5th or 6th round as a receiver. I think this solidifies us as not picking up a receiver before day 3. There's no way the team picks up a receiver before day 3. In my opinion right now, it just can't happen. It really just won't happen, and they shouldn't. There are some really good receivers in the first 2 days. The first day is a whole no-go for me. Second day, there are some good receivers, but it makes no sense for the needs that we have. Chris Hogan on our team, he fits the same kind of mold as a lot of the guys. We have Jarius Wright, like I said. We have Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. We have obviously both tight ends, Christian McCaffrey. A lot of guys who are like kind of tweener kind of guys, speedy guys who can run a lot of really great underneath routes. And there's people already talking about, is he going to play outside? Is he going to play inside in the slot? I don't think it matters. In our scheme, I think it's kind of short-sighted to even think about where guys are going to be lining up. It's because of all the pre-snap motion. It's because of guys having kind of similar skill sets where you might see DJ Moore. He works perfectly in the slot, but you might see him on the outside. You can see Jarius Wright works really well in those quick slants in the slot, but he worked very well on those comeback routes and very well on hitches and curls to the outside as well. So I don't think it really matters where he lines up or where he lines up primarily. The way our scheme works, there's no real definition of what number guys are going to be. If a guy's an X, Y, or Z kind of guy, well, the X is one thing. But our Y and Z kind of guys there's no real set, hard and fast rule. Guys move around. They're interchangeable parts. It's kind of like how the NBA is now, where we're playing positionless wide receiver roles. I think it doesn't really matter to me what his primary inside or outside job is going to be. I know there's going to be some fans who don't like it. They're going to say, oh man, we need a big body receiver. We need guys who can be 6'4", 6'5". Do not think the team will not get a guy in the later rounds of the draft. I think it's entirely possible. But this right here, if you think about this move right here, think about our injury potential, think about how we may or may not have Torrey Smith, who is a receiver who should really only be playing outside. That is one thing about Torrey Smith that may be an issue with letting him go. But This move right here works perfectly for our scheme, and I'm really cool with it. That's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts? Do you like Chris Hogan? Do you not like Chris Hogan? Do you like this move? Do you think he's going to fit into our scheme we have here? Is Marty Hurney solidified as the GOAT by this point? Let me know all that in the comments below. And one last thing before I go, you've probably heard me say this before over and over again, but if you haven't yet, please go to that pinned comment, hit that link, and please sign that petition to maybe get the Panthers to notice this site and possibly enter into a partnership with us, man. It takes all of 10 seconds. Just gotta type your name in there, hit the button, you're in and you're out. It would mean a lot to me if you dig the content here. I appreciate you. And as always, you already know to do that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.